Hello to myself and everybody else. So far, I wanted to make a review for this magazine that I got, and this magazine is called Comickers Art, and this is the second issue of it. So far, this magazine is from 2007 from Japan, but the English version of this book came out in 2008, so this book is quite old compared to like when I'm reviewing it. But so far, this magazine gives advice about certain topics of depending on what the issue is about, and it contains interviews with different people such as artists, illustrators, writers, editors, different people and stuff like that too, working on like manga or anime. And again, this is like about the production and stuff of it, and it's back from 2007/2008. So that's the thing to really keep in mind about this. But so far, this issue that I'm looking at right now, this one basically focuses on the creation of manga characters, sort of. So far, I'll get into that later on, but so far, this magazine is split up into multiple parts. So far, it starts off with basically talking about what is sketching, and it goes into that for a bit. It has like interviews with a person as well, just getting their advice on what they say sketching is. And then it later goes into multiple like featured artists or storytellers and stuff like that as well, where basically just it interviews them. They ask them questions about like what they're working on, again back in 2007, and their mindset when they're making something or doing their job or coming up with something. The next part so far is called Gallery Hot New Talent, and basically with that part it's just a bunch of pictures from like various artists and everything. So I guess it's something that was probably like sent into the magazine and they just put it in there, where they basically like give credit to the artist and everything like that as well. So far the other part is story manga, which basically it has some panels from certain stories and everything in there. So far I have a picture of the contents and stuff up too. I'll go ahead and just zoom into that so you can see what the stories are. But yeah, so far with this, it has stuff from 3 different stories on here. The only thing is, again, I have the English version, but the manga is still in Japanese, so there's no way I can read it. So that's something I'm probably going to skip over in this review. And the last one is the Gallery Master Artist. And basically with that part, it's mostly just, again, the same thing as the second gallery, except I'm basically assuming the main difference between the two is the second one, or technically the first, the Gallery, the Hot New Talent one. That one's basically from people who are new to the industry or basically just haven't been in it as long, compared to the Gallery Master Artists, which I'm assuming are from people who've been doing this for a while. So that's like the main difference I'm assuming from this. So that's the only thing there with this. So far, the first part is about sketching. And so far, the first part really just kind of talks about definition of sketching is, and what are some important things to like think about and focus on while you're trying to sketch or trying to get into sketching. We just keep looking at the next part. It goes into an interview with Hiroshi Kano, and basically just a interview and stuff with that person as well, basically asking them questions and then responding, such as like, does sketching always make a good drawing, and various different things about like trying other methods, or should artists be obsessed with like certain methods or how their drawing comes out. Again, so far the interviews are actually quite interesting in this book because, again, they're asking actual people and you're getting different perspectives on different ideologies of how to draw, how to improve. And I find them actually really quite fascinating to read as well. I won't like go through all of them because if I did, this thing would be like an hour long. But so far, just with the first part about sketching and everything as well, it does keep going into other topics as well, such as like deformation of your drawing. Basically saying things like, manga should be a deformed picture that also is nice to look at. In deformation, the proportion will not be accurate to real life, but as long as the image is well proportioned and it looks good in your own style, that's all that matters. So far, things like that are just like little things to take in while reading it, which can basically help with motivation, like for people who have started sketching and want to just find ways to improve. So again, something very interesting. I say to just like take a look at if you can like get your hands on. So far, the next part are more interviews with artists or illustrators or editors of people working on different things. So far, this part's really interesting, as I was saying before, because so far with the information that they give, and again, it's back from 2007, so it's kind of like a time capsule in that way, but basically the information they give in that is an interesting insight into just like how different people like see their work ethic, the job they do, how they like take their job seriously, or see how they're like a big part in making something. Just really interesting to get different perspectives on that. But so far for this, like they have the different featured artists. So far they would be in this one, and I'm probably gonna butcher some of these names, but I'm gonna try my best. So far some of the artists would be Yo Higuri. The other one is Iji, or it's either Aji Usasuka. The next one is Hiroshi Takashi. The next one is Tempo Ibun Ayakashi Ayashi. And finally, the other one is Kikuchi Enma. Again, I probably butchered some of those names, but I'm just trying my best with this. But yeah, so far looking at each one, I'm not going to go through like all their interviews entirely because these are like pretty long interviews. But they do talk about interesting things such as like what is their mindset when they get started with their work, or their mindset on when they have to interpret somebody else's work, and how much they get to do with that as well. So far, again, it's very fascinating to read. Most likely in the industry has probably changed a lot in like this long amount of time that it's probably outdated. But again, it's still very interesting just to see like people's perspective in the field from back in that time. And I know if you're like me and you like seeing the history of stuff, this would probably be a really good way to look at things and just like learn about how things used to be and how completely different things are now. So absolutely, I would recommend that, giving that a read if somehow anybody gets their hand on this book. So far, the next part is the gallery, hot new talent. So far for this, as I was saying earlier, this part of the magazine is basically just a bunch of pictures from people. And basically, I'm assuming they're like newer or haven't been in the industry as long. But so far, just like pictures from their artwork and everything. And it looks really good. So far, I'm just basically going to show this one page because I'll have to give like credit to a bunch of people if I showed all this. But yeah, basically just formatted like this. Just a bunch of pictures with the credits and quotes from people who made it. So you can just kind of like see all that stuff, get inspiration, and see what, what like piques your interest and what you want to like study, look at, and look into more people's art and everything. So far, the next part is the story manga. And with that, I can't show like a ton with that either because it basically takes up entire pages of the magazine. And like I said, they're completely in Japanese. At most, I can kind of just show like one part so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically just completely in Japanese, and it's just like little like demos of like different people's work. Like I think in total it's like 3 comics for this. And with the content, you basically just like see which ones those were. I'll just like go ahead and put that back up so you can just see what those were. But yeah, so far that's really the entire thing with this part of the magazine. The last part in it is Gallery Master Artist. Basically, it's really similar to the Gallery Hot New Talent, but with this part, I'm assuming it's basically from people who've been in the industry for a while, so you get to see their work and everything. So far with the same thing as the other, I'll basically show like one page so you can just kind of see what the formatting is. But with this, it's basically like on each page is a different artist, except for like one person who I think got like 4 pages. So again, that's basically just the formatting of that. So far for me personally, after looking at this magazine and what I got out of it, basically I got some pretty interesting like perspectives on what makes a good sketch and everything like that, as well as some things to kind of help improve like in at least mindset wise, such as main things like a sketch can be distorted, imbalanced, and careless in rendering. It's important to understand what you want to draw. Illustrators are hardly satisfied with their skill and always aim for a higher level. And one thing that was most important to me too was just the advice of acquiring a sketching method or technique that is comfortable to you. So far with that, that was like something really important as well, because it kind of made me just think about what I'm doing, and because I'm like basically new when I'm getting started with like drawing and everything. And basically it's teaching me just with the stuff I'm working with right now, I should just like work with different methods until I find one I'm comfortable with. Because right now I'm working with one and I'm finding like a ton of flaws in it. So I just need to like try some other ones and just see what's up. As well as most importantly from the sketching part is that I just really learned overall that I just need to lighten up when it comes to my drawings. Because basically with the deformation part of the magazine, basically says it really doesn't matter when it comes to manga if the image is like perfect, as long as you really focus on balance. And that's what this whole part mentions a lot, is balance. And basically when it comes down to balance, it's just as long as it's like evenly weighted or the art style is consistent, that's really all that matters. So I really just need to like lighten up, try some stuff, and it won't be perfect, it won't be accurate to real life, but there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep trying your best, see what you can do, and just trying to improve by just practicing and just keep moving forward. So far for my final verdict of this magazine, like what I recommend this book or magazine, so far as a time capsule, I would say yes. Because again, it's interesting to see the perspectives and mindset of like artists, illustrators, editors, people who work in the industry of like manga and anime when, you know, it was back in 2007 or 2008 when it came out in English. And again, like most likely the industry's probably changed so much. I'm reviewing this in 2025. The industry's probably changed so much that, again, just an interesting way to look back and see how things used to be. So again, if you want to like use it as a time capsule, I absolutely recommend trying to like track the book down or the magazine down and trying to like, you know, read it. So far as an educational book, I would not recommend it. Again, this book is good for motivation for people who have already kind of gotten started a bit. So like if you're new to sketching or drawing and you're slowly getting into it, then again, I'd recommend looking at this for motivation so you can kind of like figure out what are you doing wrong, or if you're kind of stuck somewhere, just kind of maybe help you move forward. I can recommend it for that. But I wouldn't recommend it as a book for I have no experience drawing, period, and will this teach me how to draw? No. This basically just, again, I'll keep repeating it for motivation and just to kind of get like some, like basically get a mindset on what to do. But beyond that, not really for educational purposes. The only thing I would say that would probably affect the choice overall is, again, this book is a magazine from 2007. I've said it like 1,000 times. And due to that, the book can be kind of tough to try to find. Because for me, and so far this is not sponsored by them whatsoever, I bought this from Thrift Books. And when I bought it, there was only like maybe 3 copies left of like each one. Or except for like some of them, there was only 1 copy left. And I'm pretty sure I bought the last one. But basically, if you're looking for, I think they only made like 4 of them in English. So basically issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. You basically might have to try to go to like eBay or something to try to find it. But beyond that, is it worth the hassle of trying to find? Again, if you're interested in history and looking at this as a time capsule, then sure. But if you're looking at this for education, then you're probably fine just like not having it. You might can find it online with like Internet Archive or something, because I think I maybe have found some stuff by looking for it online, but again, just look for it at your own risk and all that. But yeah, just overall, again, interesting magazine, and I'll probably look at some of the other ones later. But again, main thing I said before, wanting this as a time capsule, then look for it. If you want it for education, then you're probably gonna just want to skip it. But beyond that, that's really it. So to myself and everybody else, thanks for watching.